Okay, so I wanted to come to you guys and share with you some goal setting information I got yesterday. I got a random message from a business coach named Noah Ronan. She's somebody local in town, and I actually met her at a networking event. I go to lots of networking events and educational events here in town. I met her a year ago. I had her card from my little goodie bag. I friended her. I followed her. And I hadn't really thought about her at all until I got a random group message, maybe Saturday. There were 100 and some people in it, and said she's doing these free workshops. So I'm like, okay, it sounds interesting to me. It's free. I can network. I can get out of the house and go, work on my goals. I'm always needing to work on it, and I love to hear from other people. So I went in, and there were maybe 8 other entrepreneurs, home-based people there, and our focus was goals. So one thing I would say to you is just look and see where there's opportunities. I see networking opportunities come up all the time. There's all kinds of different networking groups on Facebook, meetups, things like that, things that are free for you to go and just talk to other people that are trying to work their business or are goal-oriented, people that are positive or looking for positivity, because it's a great connection one way or the other for you. So Noah Ronan, and if you printed out those pages, it has her, it's noahronancoaching.com, and she has some information on her website. So I am not a business coach as Noah is. She's been doing this for a long time, and she had a background in business and marketing, and is from Israel. So completely different background than me, but I think that we can always take things from different people. And the first thing that she had us do is she had us look at these little picture cards. It was called At My Best. It's at mybest.com. And there were these little pictures basically that you can buy. I don't know that you need to go buy a bunch of picture cards, but if you were going to do an activity like this, it might be good just down the road to have that information. But she had us find a picture that resonated with us. And there are pictures of like waterfalls or sunsets or kids or just random pictures, and see what related to you and what went with your why. So it all really comes down to our why. Why are you doing these things? Why do you have these goals? Having a why that is a really strong, really powerful, is going to lead you to success. It has to be something that really draws you in, that no matter what, no matter how tough things are, how bad of a day you had, or how cold it is outside, or how many people have said no to you, that you keep going. So she mentioned somebody that I have been following for a long time, Simon Sinek. Some of you that are on my team, you've heard me talk about Simon before. We've done, watched his TED Talk. He's got a book that's really become very, very talked about in the business community called Start With Why. But he's got a bunch of videos and resources on his web as well. So if you want to check that out. But I would encourage you guys to really think about your why as you're getting started with your goals. Another thing that I want to mention is Bridget and Amory and I are doing this group called Inspired Beyond Belief. We are opening up to Plexus and non-Plexus friends, where all we're going to be doing is working on our belief. But our belief has to go with our why. We have to work on our goals, on our mindset, on the things that we're saying to ourselves, and our affirmations. So as I was in this group yesterday, many of the people there were not very positive. They had all these negative things going through their heads about why they couldn't reach their goals. So if you don't have that positive mindset and you don't have those affirmations in place, you're going to find some stumbling blocks for reaching your goals. So I want to encourage you guys as well to join that group with us. I think you guys have all said you're going to be a part of that. But if not, we are starting the 13th, and open it up to any friends. All these people that I met yesterday at this coaching session, I sent them all a message, of course, on Facebook, friended them, and then I sent them all an email as well, inviting them and encouraging them to join me, because it's about, being able to work together in a community and reach our goals together. So Noah had us think about a few different questions as we got started. She asked us to think about, are we really focused on our true why when you're setting your goals? Why do you keep pushing even when things are tough, like I mentioned? What are the things that keep you going? So if you have your why written down, think about those things. Those are probably the reasons that you keep getting on these calls, you keep doing these trainings, you keep sending those messages, you keep doing power hours, because your belief is strong enough and your why is strong enough. Okay, so the first part on this sheet, and hopefully you guys have it printed out, is talking about what you did well in October. So this was perfect timing. And you can do this at different times of the year. This might be a good thing for you to do for a few months, and maybe next year you're going to find another goal sheet or another kind of format that works well for you. I switch things around a lot, just finding what works and experimenting, which is another thing that Noah talked about yesterday. What works for me might not be the best thing that works for you, but it might work for somebody on your team as well. So I want you to go through that first part. I'm going to give you a few minutes to write down what you did well. And writing these things down and really being honest with yourself is important to being able to figure out what you need to improve on. So write down things that went well from, you can choose this past month. Maybe in December, you'll choose this past year, or you can even just do this past week. Who did you talk to? What successful marketing efforts did you have? Good results with talking or following up with somebody, getting a new customer. What are those things that you are proud of that you did well this week? I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do that part. Okay, so if you didn't finish that first section, feel free to go back later, but we're going to go on to what we still need to work on. What are the areas that you want to improve on from either this past week or this past month, whatever where you're above goals? When I have my team and my level ones at the beginning of the month and the end of one month, I always tell them to write down their goals and reflect back on them. A lot of times we don't get that done. We don't really reflect back and write them down, but it is so important. The people that I have that are the most successful, that share those goals with me and really reflect back and think about realistic goals, are the ones that do very, very well. So think back, be honest. This is just for you or to share with your power partner or your upline. But what things did you not do well? Where do you need to make improvements? Where do you need to make some changes? what are you maybe disappointed on that you know is something that you want to continue working on? So I'm going to give you another few minutes to work on that next section. Was I muted when I just said that last part? Okay, I just saw it was muted again, making sure. Okay, we're going to move on, but again, feel free to go back. Okay, so this next segment on the very bottom of that first page, it says, how can I be better with my goals? So the first one, I want you to think about a goal that you can actually do and accomplish this week. And when I'm thinking about these goals, I'm thinking about my business side of things. But of course, you can be doing this in other areas of your life. It could be your health and wellness goals, personal goals, family goals. So whatever you're focusing on right now. So what can you do this week? What's a goal that you can attain this week? The next one is a goal that challenges me, but I can do it. And think about a little bit longer term. What's a goal that you can accomplish in 3 months or 6 months? That's a challenge for you. You don't want something to be super simple that you're going to do anyhow. And then the third one is a goal that's outside my comfort zone. What's going to really, really stretch you? Like for me, it is leading with the business no matter what. So that's a goal that stretches me a lot. So write down those few goals, and then we'll move on to the next segment. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. Okay, so let's go on. We're going to flip to the other side where we have that table with the goals and kind of like all those different boxes. So it's kind of like a brain dump. I want you guys to go in and write in those boxes. You might need a little bit more room. It's something similar to what you do when you're writing your affirmations. You write all the negative things down and you kind of turn it around. So for goal 1, for instance, all the reasons why it will be hard to do. So if your goal is to add maybe 2 customers this week, well, why are all the reasons that it's going to be hard for you to do that in this week? And then go on to the fears section. What are some of the fears you have around adding a new customer? Is it that people are going to think you're reaching out just to sell them something? That's one of my fears a lot of the times. People think that I only talk to them just because I want to sell them something. And then think about the barriers. What is an actual barrier that is standing in your way? Not your fears, but a barrier. Like perhaps maybe you're traveling and you're not going to be able to be online. Or you're working a lot because it's end of month or a new quarter or new month at work. What are some actual barriers that are standing in your way? So write down as many things that are standing in your way, those fears, and the things that you think will be hard so we can turn it around and find some positive with that. You're probably not going to be able to get through all of these right now. So maybe just focus on 1 or 2 of these goals so that we can go on to the next segment as well, and you can come back to this. Okay, so I know you probably didn't finish all of that, but I want to see from or hear from you guys what are a few of the fears or a few of the barriers, because I have a feeling some of them will be similar for all of us. Does anybody want to unmute and share a fear or a barrier?
Definitely distractions. It's
Mm-hmm.
easy to get distracted with everything that's going on with the holidays. I also put down lack of confidence, and fear of rejection, or for me, it's really fear of bothering people and making them upset with me. So
Mm-hmm.
those are my big barriers.
Okay. Thanks, Melinda. Anybody else want to share some of theirs?
Mine are that I need to be friends with some of these people before I can come up with the plexus conversation. So my fear is that I might be too afraid or not feel like I can get myself injected into a conversation just about natural things before I can throw plexus on them.
Right, right. And it is really good to definitely build a relationship before you start, spewing a bunch of plexus on them. Anybody have similar or the same kinds of fears going through as you were thinking about this? Or barriers?
Mine are different.
What's your, Cindy?
I need to believe and know more about the products. For some reason, that's getting me strongly lately, right? You don't need to know the products. Yes, you do. You need to know a little bit more, especially all the new ones that are coming on. But of course, I've had a bad month. I've been sick, and I've got some bad things happening for November, and that's bothered me to try and share when I'm sick, because we're supposed to be healthy. So that's a barrier that's been bad for me. And my other one is fear of not getting to where I need to go by April, so that Tom can come home, because he's not been real good about working past that date.
Yeah.
Those are mine right now.
Okay. Yeah, so we might have some similar things. We might have some different fears and barriers that are going to come up for us as we're working on our goals and reflecting back to our big why we're doing this, why we want this to be our goal to begin with. So in the bottom section, she had us think about ways that we can achieve our goals. What are some ways that you're going to experiment with this? Now, it might be different for me than it is for you. What works for me and the way I schedule my day and I work my business might be completely different than what Becky's doing or what Craig's doing, because we're at different stages and we just do things differently. So I want you to think about some ways that you can experiment, and let's just focus on one of those goals, pick whichever one you want, ways that you can experiment to meet that goal, some ideas that you have. And then for choice of no choice, that was a little bit trickier for me to understand, but it's basically what's going to make you do this like no matter what. We all have the same 24 hours in the day, and it's really how we spend our time. If it's the way we prioritize our day, what's of utmost importance. So for me, what works in figuring out how this is absolutely no choice that I'm going to get this stuff done, that I'm going to do the work that I say I'm going to do, is blocking out that time. We have to eat, you might have a regular job, sleep, taking the kids to school or whatever activities. What are the things you've already committed to and plugging those in, and then doing that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just doing it. Is it setting an alarm earlier? Is it making sacrifices like not watching a TV show or not doing an activity? Where is your shift going to be? What is your thing you are going to make it so that it's not a choice, that you're going to actually do it? And then that metaphor piece is just to think about a metaphor or a way of it saying this in a positive way that you can associate with that goal. So I'm going to give you like 1 or 2 minutes to just pick one of those goals to do experimenting, choice of no choice, and any metaphor if you can think of something, and we're going to close it up. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stop there. And I would encourage you guys to go back afterwards and fill in the rest of the boxes or the rest of the places that maybe you didn't dig in as deeply, and share this with somebody, whoever your accountability partner, your upline, somebody to hold you accountable, to make sure that you are actually achieving your goals, and maybe giving you some ideas for how you can experiment to ways to get into past your fears and past those barriers as well. The last thing that Noah shared with us yesterday was she made some suggestions of what works for her, and this might not work for you, but once a week, she writes out her entire plan for the week. So she might do a goal setting sheet like this every single week. She'd schedule out her week. She blocks it out. That's something similar to what I do. Every Sunday, I block out my week and figure out how I'm going to do all the things I want to do. Where am I going to do those power hours? Where am I going to reach out to customers? Where am I going to do that follow-up? If this is a business goal for you, and be as detailed with it as you can. What is actually required for you to meet those goals? So listing out the experimenting. What am I going to do? Okay, I'm not just going to say I'm going to get 2 new customers this week. Okay, I'm going to friend 10 people a day, and I'm going to send 20 messages a day, and I'm going to follow up with 10 people from the previous week, and I'm going to interact with my top 25 people. Whatever those things that you are going to actually do to meet your goals. So be as specific as you can when you're trying to reach those goals. And the last thing I put in the comment section, I shared 2 links. I shared Noah's website, and I also shared an assessment called the Kolbe Assessment. It's a paid assessment you can do. It would be similar probably to doing something like Strength Finders if you've worked on that, but a few of the business coaches that were in the room said it was a good one. I think it's $50. I haven't done it yet. I was thinking about maybe doing it, but if you're interested in finding out more about your strengths and the areas that you can work or improve upon, that might be something for you to look at down the road. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, well, I hope this was helpful. This might be a document that you might use for the next few months, or go and find some other ones that work well for you. Passion Planner is my actual planner that I use, and Noah actually sent us an email with some links from there. They have some great PDFs and documents for goal setting and reflections. And if you follow other business coaches, just find some online. They're probably going to be sharing some things that you might find works well for you. They might have some documents that you can use or some tips as well. So be searching for those, looking for those as well. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Stacey, thank you.